and it is conference tournament week. Of course, for some that was last week, but the big boys are playing this week. And on this show, we are going to break down all 5 power conferences as we lead up to Selection Sunday, which is now just 5 days away. I couldn't be more excited. Isaac Trotter is with me, and I will be the first to publicly compliment his haircut. I think it's big time. Shout out to the barber right before the tournament. Trotter, let's get this started in the ACC. I want to talk about, first and foremost, the favorite. We've got Duke, who is in the top 5 right now in both offense and defense. They are the number 1 seed in this tournament for obvious reasons. Number 2 offense in the country, number 4 defense in the country. Cooper Flagg has a more than legitimate case to be the National Player of the Year. We've talked about that at length, but this team is getting it done on both ends of the floor. And the point you and I were talking about off camera, that I want to dig into a little bit right now, their math is perfect. Their shot distribution, the way they're getting things done defensively. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, I think the teams that can strike that balance between the shot volume game and the shot chart game are at the best, advantage to win. And Duke does both of those things. They are winning the turnover battle on most nights, and they're winning the rebounding battle on most nights. So they're basically taking way more shots than their opponents on a nightly basis. And then the shot chart comes into play, and it's like, all right, Duke gets a ton of catch and shoot threes, which is the highest quality look from 3 that you can get, a ton of shots at the rim. And their defense forces a ton of tough contested jumpers, and they don't let you get anything at the rim. So that blend of winning the shot chart and the shot volume game is just, and when you have the personnel that you do, it's just, that's a special combination. And it's kind of fueling a Duke team that, they look like they might be the best team in all of college basketball.
They certainly do look like that. The analytics say they are. My only hesitation, and it's not a hesitation this week because they are my favorite, is that they have 3 18-year-olds on the court at the same time. But I think that's a storyline that could play out a few weeks down the road. We will wait and see. Trotter, my question to you is, according to CBSSports.com, Duke is not your pick to win the ACC tournament. So what say you?
Well, it's the madness, right? We have to embrace a little bit of it. It wouldn't be that fun if Duke controlled the ACC tournament or the regular season and the tournament, right? So I'm looking at Clemson. This is a group that Duke has 1 loss in ACC this year. It was to Clemson. And this is a group that they're a little bit undervalued in the betting markets. They're the 3rd favorite in the ACC, but I think they're the 2nd best team in this league. They're the oldest team in the league. We've seen them match up very, very well with Duke. I like the draw that they have. And I think there's a lot of little aspects here working for Clemson. One, they have a stud guard, and Chase Hunter is a complete superstar. And his ability to score at all 3 levels, he's a 5th-year guard. He's been there, done that, played a ton of college basketball. That's huge. The second part, this defense that they're doing has been phenomenal at limiting unguarded catch-and-shoot threes. Think about this. In the last 3 months, since December 7th, they have not allowed double-digit unguarded catch-and-shoot threes in a single game. Not one time. That's like a 3-month span of you just do not get open looks against them. That's enormous. And so in an ACC tournament where you're going to have to grind out multiple wins in a row, I love that defensive aspect. I love the offensive ability to mismatch hunt. They're very big. Ian Shefflin, Victor Locken, both of those guys are big, strong, and physical, which you definitely need if you're looking ahead to an ACC tournament rematch against Duke in the final. So, yeah, if we're going to have a little bit of fun today, I think Clemson would be my pick just because Duke, picking them, they're I think minus 300 to win the league, win the tournament in most betting markets. That's not fun. That's not boring. That's a little boring. I'll ride with Clemson.
All right, Clemson, for everybody to know, is even better on the offensive end of the floor than they are defensive, according to the numbers. 18th overall in offense, according to Ken Pom, 23 in defense. They do play at one of the slowest tempos in all of college basketball, so each possession counts that much more. A couple things to keep an eye out for. And what's really interesting about Clemson this year is there's no talking head like us suggesting that Brad Brownell should be fired. Everybody seems to realize that they've got a really good coach and they should ride with him. So I digress. The way we're going to work all these previews, we're going to talk about the favorites, and then we are going to go talk about the sleeper team in each conference. And Trotter, I'm going to get your pick. Again, this is in line with what you presented on CBSSports.com. So who is your sleeper pick in the ACC?
Yeah, so the parameters of this is they can't be a top 5 seed. So I'm looking at a number 7 seed in this bracket of Stanford. This is a very interesting group that they have put together. I think Maxime Reynaud is one of the most, it's hard to say he's the best 10 players in college basketball, but if you catch him on the right night, he certainly feels like that, right? He's just a complete superstar. And I love the draw that they have. Cal or Virginia Tech in the first round is fine. In the second round that they would get to play, it's you're looking at a Louisville team that's very banged up. Like Rain Smith is out right now. We'll see if we can get him back and get healthy. Plus, they just played each other. Like, you know how hard it is to beat a team twice. How about beating them twice in like a 5-day span? Like, that would not be easy at all. So I don't think Stanford is a pick that's like they're going to win this league. I don't think they're going to pull an NC State, but I would not be surprised at all if they could make a little bit of a magical run to the semifinals. And then you go from there because, you know, I like Kyle Smith. I think they have a good proof of concept right now as a complete superstar. And I think if they can get some help from the 3-point variance flipping their way, you know, they have the worst 3-point variance luck in the last month. Teams are shooting 36% from three. They're only at 31%. If that flip flops a little bit and they get a little bit more luck on that regard, maybe we could see Stanford playing Clemson in the ACC tournament semifinals.
Yeah, Raynaud's one of the best players in the country, sleeper NBA prospect. Jalen Blake's, formerly of Duke, just an absolute warrior. And Kyle Smith, I said this when he got hired, it's so appropriate that he is the head coach at Stanford because I think he's the smartest coach in the country. I mean, what he does from an analytics perspective, if you ever go back to when he was the head coach at Columbia and he found buy games to like nuance the metrics and things like that, and all the things he's done from an analytics standpoint, every hustle stat that I think they call it the hustle stats that he's really patented. You talk about his coaching tree. It includes both Todd Golden at Florida as well as Kobe Altman, the GM of the Cavs. So Kyle Smith, if there's somebody you want to bet on, I would go with that. All right, the third category that we are going to do for every conference tournament is an impact player. And I'm going to talk about Chucky Hepburn from Louisville, who was just named the Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC. And this is not a commentary on whether or not I agree with that. In fact, I actually want to talk about his offensive production. This is a guy last year at Wisconsin who averaged 9 points per game. And the narrative was that he was going to come into Louisville and be a great point of attack defender and really set the tone. But his offensive numbers have jumped up beyond anybody's expectations. He's got career highs in not only points, but also field goal percentage, free throw percentage, rebounding, and assists. The numbers have jumped from 9 to 16 points per game, from 4 to 6 assists per game, from 3 to 4 rebounds per game. And in the last 10 in particular, he's gone off for a couple huge games. This guy is proving that he can get hot almost on any given night. He had 37 in a win against Pitt and 29 in a win against Florida State. That is not the player that anyone was expecting coming out of the portal last year. So more offensive explosiveness than we thought, and the same hard-nosed, tough point of attack defender. Trotter, any last word on the Defensive Player of the Year award? Because I know you have some feelings there.
Yeah, I probably would have gone with Cooper Flagg over. I know I would have gone with Cooper Flagg over Chucky Hepburn, but that's not taking anything away from Chucky. He has been terrific, a terrific transfer portal evaluation. And just, you know, I think this says a lot about breathing confidence into guys. Like there were times last year where Hepburn looked a little bit, just hesitant and a little nervous and just it didn't feel like he was comfortable at all times. He's gone to Louisville and really turned into a complete alpha and a killer. And he's a terrific defender. He is not the best defender in the league. That is Cooper Flagg.